Hello everyone and welcome to another album remake video. For this one, I'm going to be showing you guys how I remade the Weeknd's album cover. I was super excited about this one. If you know me, you know I love the Weeknd. I tell everyone I'm going to meet him one day before I die, and I really want to direct a photo shoot with him. So those are my goals. I'm speaking them out there. If he ever sees this, hi, I love you. Anyways, yeah, I was really excited about this one. I had a lot of ideas on how I was going to do it, and once I finally got one and solidified it and then did it, I was really impressed with the turnout. So, a little backstory to explain how I got here to Photoshop, which you guys are looking at now, is I went to the studio and I set up my equipment, my 2-light shoot, and my camera and my tripod. And I do what I do every time. I sit and focus the camera on myself, and then I set the timer to 2 or 10 seconds depending on how much time I need, and then I take these photos. So I only took these from the shoulder up because in his album cover you only see from the shoulder up. And then I brought them into Lightroom, and I didn't do any editing other than changing the photo from color to black and white. From there, what I did is I saved these photos as PDFs, and then I printed them on paper, on like regular white paper. So then what I did is I cut them and I ripped them to the way I wanted, and I used one of the scanners on campus, and I scanned my photo pieces back in to the computer, and now here we are in Photoshop with all of the pieces scanned and together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them together for you guys. So I went over and I unlocked my background layer so that way I was able to work with it. Since I have 8 pieces here, I created 8 layers so that way I could put each piece on its own layer. Then I went over to my quick selection tool and I simply just started selecting each piece, cleaning up the edges, but since these were sharp edges and most of the edges are white on the black background, it was able to pick it up pretty quickly. Then I went over to my move tool and clicked on that, and then clicked on the piece that I had just cut out, and that cut it away from my layer 0. Then I hit Command C on my keyboard to copy it, and went to layer 1 and hit Command V to paste that piece onto that layer. So that is essentially what I did for every single piece. So I'm going to speed this up so we don't have to watch me do that over and over. But yeah, that's how I isolated each piece to where I could move it around and adjust it how I want. So now with all the pieces cut out, I can get rid of my layer 0, and now I just have my pieces in my workspace. Then what I did is I went and created a new solid fill, and of course I did black because in his album cover, the back of his background is black. And I dragged it underneath all of my layer pieces so that my layer pieces were on top. Then I went back up to my move tool and I simply just started moving and adjusting the pieces around using the move tool and the transform tool by clicking Command T on the keyboard and just putting the photo back together again. I did rearrange some of the layers, so some would overlay and some wouldn't. But yeah, I basically just got to have fun with this and recreate this image that I ripped up, and it was pretty cool and a lot of fun. Then once I repositioned all of my pieces the way I wanted it to, I went over to my crop tool and just cropped the black color fill down to a square, so that way everything remained a square and was the same. And once I was happy with that crop, I just hit enter to apply those changes. So, as you can see, there's kind of like a blue cast on the photo, and I want to make it more black and white, like this one that you see here that I've already finished. So I'm going to show you guys what I did next for that. So I went over to my adjustments and I selected the black and white adjustment, and then I turned down the reds, I turned down the blues, and turned down the magentas. This kind of took the bluish cast that it had out and made it more black and white. Then I went to my curves adjustment and adjusted those as well, messing with the highlights and the shadows and getting those where I wanted them. I think this is one of my favorite photos that I made because I have the rip right there underneath my eye. I like it a lot. And once I was happy with that, I applied those settings, and here I am checking back at my old one for reference. Then I went back to my adjustments and selected the brightness and contrast and brought the brightness up to 15 and the contrast to 50. This gave it this... No, I did not take it to 50. I took it to 40. Whoops. But this made it just a little bit darker, a little bit more punchier, kind of like his. Then what I did is I went on Pixabay and I found this crumpled piece of paper texture, and I brought that into my working file. When I dragged it in, I scaled it up to size to where it fit over the entire photo. And once I was happy with that, I applied those settings by hitting enter. And then I went to my blending mode. I changed the blend mode to soft light. This allowed the paper pieces to show through the paper texture while still showing the paper texture. So it made it just look more crumpled, more like a piece of paper would. And then I changed the opacity down to 50%. Then I went up to my filter and selected noise and selected add noise. And from here I added noise to the entire picture. I went back into my black and white and just messed with the yellows a little bit because it looked like it kind of had a yellow cast on it. So I just brought the yellow down just a tad. And I'm just messing with the colors at this point, just doing small adjustments, seeing what I like. And I am done. So, like I said, I was really excited to recreate this photo, and once I saw the finished product, I was even more excited and happy. I think it turned out really well, and I think I will definitely be making photos like this in the future in my own way. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. Thank you.